My name is Nate Boley, and 20 years ago, strength training changed the course of my life. I built a gym here in Bend, Oregon from scratch that's helped over 1,500 people change their lives as well through strength training. If you want to change your life, head over to benstrengthwarehouse.com, hit the Start My Journey button, and let's chat. All right, guys, we'll see you there. Hey, guys, welcome back to the podcast. Season 2, I can't even remember what episode it is now. I think it's somewhere in the 14 or 15. But anyway, welcome back. Thanks a lot for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about the creation of Strength Warehouse and Megan and I's passion, right? This one's going to be called transformation. So when Megan and I created our gym, we found that there was a void in people's lives that lived in the area. People wanted to strength train. They wanted to get fitter. They wanted to get stronger. They wanted to be able to move better. And the current gyms in Bend were just not facilitating that. There was a huge void. Nobody knew how to strength train correctly. Nobody knew the benefits of real barbell training and progressive overload. All there was do-it-yourself gyms with a bunch of cable machines and, weight plate machines and stuff like that, which is not bad. I'm not saying you can't get to your goals doing that. You absolutely can. But intentional strength training and functional fitness just wasn't around. I mean, there was CrossFit. CrossFit has this thing. It just is not really intentional progressive overload training. It's just not. It's its own thing. There was nothing like this in Bend, right? And so we knew we needed to make this happen. So we knew the area we knew all these endurance athletes needed strength training. They just didn't know it yet. Everybody back then, 2012 and before, they were like, oh, run, cardio, sports specific. Bodybuilding was pretty big here in town. Powerlifting has kind of just bumped along and never really done anything. And nobody knew the direct effects of progressive overloading over time using compound movements. So we decided to start it off in our garage. And I know I've gone through this before, but I kind of wanted to go into a little bit more depth. And maybe some of you guys haven't heard this before. But we started off in our garage because all the gyms around town were just not advantageous for lifters that wanted to get stronger and use progressive overload. Now, you can do this in the big box gyms. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that we decided that there wasn't not a good enough support system for this to really happen. Speaking of that, the last gym I was at before we opened our gym, they asked me to not powerlift there anymore. And, it's not like I was, throwing chalk around everywhere, sniffing, smelling salt, yelling really loud. It was just because they were worried about their equipment getting broken, because not very many people do that. They're worried about equipment getting, worn out, which I understand. I have to replace equipment all the time at our gym because, it's heavy weights to get beat up, all that type of stuff. But mostly it was scaring people. If I was going to go over and lift a 600-pound deadlift, there was a bunch of people looking really nervously around the gym, like he's going to hurt himself. And, lo and behold, I've hurt myself a couple times, but not like that, and not in the gym, and not on a regular basis. So we decided to go for it. And we opened our garage open. We cleared it all out. We put a squat rack in there, and we put a competition bench in there. We put some deadlift bars in there, and it became the town's, Central Oregon's, only powerlifting specific place. It was called Iron Pit Powerlifting, and I believe the Facebook page is still up. I haven't been on there for years now because I just don't do anything with it, and it's just not what we do anymore. But I kind of go back and compare pictures and stuff like that. It was super fun. You should go look it up and comment on some of our stuff or whatever if it's still on. But we decided to go for it, and what followed truly was amazing. We found a crew of people that wanted to work out with us in our garage, and they wanted to get stronger, and they wanted to go to competitions together, and we grew like a family. On Sundays we do deadlifting, and we probably indulge in some fireball shots potentially. I can't confirm or deny if that actually happened or not. And then afterwards we go to lunch, and it was just a great family thing, and that's where we really started, and we just absolutely loved it. Athletes, and then once we once we moved into our big box gym, we were known as the powerlifting only gym. So, we got this stigma. It was like, hey, if you're not a powerlifter, you can't come to our gym. Or if you're a bodybuilder, it's not right for you. If you're an endurance athlete, it's not right for you. And that kind of was around the town, like, oh, I can't come to your gym because I'm not a powerlifter. And that was absolutely not true. We took anybody who was interested in strength training. And today, we still do the same exact thing. It's literally the exact same thing as what we were doing. People just found out through word of mouth and social media and blogs and our podcasts and us talking at events and sharing our story that you can be a high-level powerlifter and work out at our gym, and you can also be somebody who doesn't want to work out or doesn't want to do powerlifting at all, just uses the modalities to get to their goals. And we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories like this where I thought it wasn't going to work out for me, and what actually was a result is it did work out very well for me, better than anything else that they've done in the past. But what followed was truly amazing. Athletes found new levels in their sport. Women were empowered that strength training was for them and they could do hard things. Men found a place to train that was truly what they needed to be the provider that they were set out to be, and really just be awesome people, right? People who have never been in the gym, let alone put a barbell on their backs, found that aches and pains that crippled them for years suddenly went away, and they moved and felt way better. It was crazy, right? Other people that were active in the gym came to see what all the buzz was about, and they said, holy crap, I've actually been doing it wrong the whole entire time. And now I'm doing it right, and it feels so much better. I talked to countless people that say, oh no, I don't squat anymore. It hurts my knee, hurts my hip, hurts my back, or I hurt myself at some point. Don't do deadlifts. That's very, very, it's got a lot of risk for injury. That's not for me. Can't do bench, hurts my shoulder. All of those people, well, I guess it's like say 65, 75% of those people that actually listen to me are doing all those things with zero pain, and their lives are so much better. And the people who didn't listen to me, I hope they did actually take something from me, and they went and did it on their own somewhere, or went to a different gym and did it. I really do, because I honestly believe in the product that we hold. I believe that the modality, and I believe in the philosophy we use is very, very good, especially for the endurance athletes. I've had Matt Allen on here from the Velocity Depot. I've had multiple cyclists on here, and we've all said this exact same thing. It works very, very well with athletes, especially ones that want to just get better. So jiu-jitsu athletes, this has been huge for them because they are so much more powerful, so much more explosive, and just really strong. And then they go and learn the techniques of jiu-jitsu and the cardiovascular effect of jiu-jitsu. And it's an amazing pairing. If you have somebody, just say jiu-jitsu, right? So if you have somebody who's technically good and cardiovascular, in shape, that knows jiu-jitsu in the same ring as somebody who is technically good, cardiovascular in shape, but can also squat 400 pounds, bench 250, 300 pounds, and then deadlift 500 pounds, who's going to win? You can't tell me that the guy that's not strong is not going to win. If they both have the same exact level of skill and cardiovascular and fitness, the person who's going to be strong has a much better advantage. And it's the same thing with runners and cyclists. If you have a cyclist that only cycles and that's all they do, they're at a disadvantage. I guarantee it. Ask all the high-level cyclists or endurance athletes that have done strength training, and they always say, I'm so much better than I was before I started strength training. Now I'm way better now that I started strength training, intentionally. Our mission was to spread the word of strength. And for the most part, for the last 7 years, it's fell on deaf ears. People are like, nope, we don't need that. Nope, we don't need that. We're bodybuilders. We don't need that. We're endurance athletes. We don't need that. Slowly over time, they've all come around and all done what we've done. And they've been like, whoa, I can't believe I haven't been doing this before. I can't even imagine where I would be at now if I would have done this the whole entire time. Now, I'm not saying you got to get up on the platform and be a high-level power lifter and sit and scroll through Instagram between each sets like, the stigma is for power lifters right now. I'm just saying you got to do progressive overload with barbells. And, of course, you got to do dumbbells, and you got to do kettlebells, and you got to do calisthenics and all that type of stuff. Adding in this little tiny bit helps you so much. It's crazy. We've been shouting this from on top of the mountains with a megaphone for years. Finally now we're starting to get some traction on this, and people are actually seeking us out and being like, hey, I don't want to go to XYZ gym. I don't want to go to XYZ gym. I don't want to go here. I want to come here because this is where it makes sense for me to be. And I've just read and heard so many great things about what you guys are doing that we want to be on board with you as well. And that is so awesome and validating to Megan and I, and of course our team. Our team absolutely loves it when there's any type of wins at all, whether it's a high-level powerlifter winning a championship or winning a meet or getting a record, or Jane, who just wants to feel like she can put her storage her carry-on bag up in the upper bin in the plane, or they want to go run around with their kiddos and they just want to be strong and do that, right? With every single person that comes to the team at Strength Warehouse, we have helped them with their goals and far beyond. It's so crazy. They're like, oh, I've got this goal. We reached those goals fast, and then they're like, what's next? And they're like, oh, I don't even know. I didn't have anything in my mind because I didn't know this was actually possible. But one of the things that we've been really, really passionate about is finding the people that have not experienced the gift of strength training and finding out that they can actually do really hard things. Like, I was just talking about this morning in a business breakfast meeting that we had. We're talking about running and runner's high and all that type of stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's great. I get it. That's another story. Running really beats you up over a long period of time, and so does a lot of things, right? But we had a lady come into our gym, and she saw somebody doing a log press, a big round cylinder with weights on the end of it. It looks really intimidating, right? And I remember this lady, I heard her, I was coaching the guy that was doing the log press, and she walks by and she's like, oh my gosh, that's so scary to me. Well, her coach was like, hey, we're going to get there. We're going to get you there. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Super scary. A few weeks later, they started doing progressions, and they got her to do the log press. And the look on her face after she did it was so amazing, because she's like, I never ever thought in my entire life that I could do something like that. And it's just insanely, it feels so insanely good to watch that type of stuff. We had another lady that saw one of my clients doing a trap bar, and she's like, that's scary. I don't want to do that. The next week we had her doing the trap bar. And again, it was so awesome to see these people be empowered. I've watched people on the platform being like, I want to total 1,000 pounds. And that's been my goal for 5 years, and I've never gotten there. And 6 months later, they're, hitting 1,100 or something like that. It's just crazy. It's just, I remember one year, 6 months, had a client in, and he was really struggling with his deadlift. He was a strong guy. He had I think it was a 400 deadlift, which is really good, right? Not a lot of people can lift 400 pounds off the ground, especially without hurting themselves or with good technique. But he's like, I want 550. I want 550. That's been a goal of mine. 6 months later, he's pulling 565. And so 6 months, that's a lot of weight to put on on the barbell. Now, that doesn't always happen. I can't take a really high level power lifter and put 150 pounds on their deadlift in 6 months. It really depends on where you are. But like I said, if there's somebody who's deadlifting 900 pounds already and they came to see me 6 months from now, it's highly unlikely that they're going to be pulling 1,100 or even a 1050. But we could take it slower. Once you get to the higher levels, it takes more time to add on weight on that. But our biggest push right now is to find the people that have not experienced that, because the empowerment and the good feelings and just everything you can do in your life is so much better when you're physically capable of doing something hard, especially picking something up off the ground. or putting it on your back and squatting down and pushing it back up, or anything like that. Any type of strength gains is just so motivating and empowering that people never want to stop having that feeling. And that's why I've been doing it now for 20 years. But anyway, that's the story. Megan and I, we've owned the gym now for over 6 years now. In the gym space we did it for 3 years. Previously, I can't speak at all. Sorry, guys. In our gym, it was called Iron Pit Powerlifting. And we are just super passionate about helping people get stronger so they can do things outside of the gym and even inside the gym that they never thought possible. I'll tell you what, you take a keg and you lift it up and you put it over the top of your head with great form, that's pretty cool. And it's also really, really Instagrammable. You put that on Instagram, all your friends and family are going to like your Instagram post. But really, for sure, it's a really cool thing. We do that with lots of our clients. And yeah, man, it's just been such a crazy, wild ride. I can't even imagine where we're going to be from, in 6-7 years from now. What kind of market share we're going to have, how big our gym's going to be, how many people we're going to help. I hope in the next 5 years that we can reach maybe at like a 6,000 or 7,000 people reach through powerlifting, through events holding, through one-on-one training at our gym, through nutrition coaching, through just following our social media. It's just touching people's lives and helping them change and get better is what drives us, Megan and I, and our team, to just do better every single day, show up to work, put our best foot forward, and help our clients. And by learning and learning and learning, we don't ever stop learning. We're always learning and always teaching our coaches how to be better and holding each other accountable to be the best standard that we can possibly be. But all right, guys, I got to get off here. I got to go pick up my 3-year-old. But I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single time this year. And that is, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And everything you want in this life is on the other side of your fear. So go out there today, take some action, and pick up something heavy, all right? And if you don't want to do it on your own, come see us. All right, guys, have a great day. Thanks for joining us on the Go Heavy or Go Home podcast today. We hope you got a lot of value and had a ton of fun. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about what we do, or just have a ton of resources at your fingertips, head over to benstrengthwarehouse.com and hit the Start My Journey button. All right, guys, until next time, go heavy or go home.